In this third video about repairing the old roof of our house, I have to explain at first that there are in fact two roofs of two houses that have to be restored. We will link the parallel houses with a passage in between and add some dormer windows. The third building in this model is the workshop. Within the 2 years of restoring the houses, I gradually moved upwards with the repairs. Now it's finally time to take away the old roof and to replace some rotten rafters and other parts that had not been accessible so far. But working on a roof alone is no good idea, so I had several helpers for taking down the tiles and removing the battens. It's an interesting view when you have only the rafters left. At several places I had to replace timbers, and sometimes the whole structure had to be lifted a bit to align or rectify it. Really difficult was the handling of the long timbers. Here we have to flip around a rafter because we started the wrong way. My calculations of the number of necessary new timbers obviously were relatively precise. There is hardly anything left now if you compare to this pile a year ago. But unfortunately, this pile of old battens is growing bigger and bigger. While working in the attic, I had some opportunity to study the history of the houses. On older photos there are already these burn marks visible, and a close look now reveals a dent in the top plate. The dent was made by a British incendiary bomb in World War II. Obviously, the bomb penetrated the roofing tiles and came halfway through this ceiling board. Here it ignited, and the molten and burning magnesium-aluminum alloy fell through the hole down to the floor. The floorboards were replaced later, but the damage is still visible beside them. The fire was extinguished by the inhabitants of the house. There were instructions how to get rid of these incendiary bombs. If you spotted the bomb immediately, you could throw it out of the window before it set off. Otherwise, you could cover it with sand and extinguish the flames using a water pump in a bucket. This is an aerial photo of our part of the city from September 1944. On December 17th, 1944, British bombers threw 100,000 of these bombs on Ulm within only 20 minutes. 80% of the inner city burned down. Here's a photo from March 1945. Our houses survived, although they were hit by at least 6 incendiary bombs. Here's an older photo of the former sheet metal roof of my workshop, with 3 patches where bombs went through. And here is a photo from the attic of the southern house before we took away the paneling. Behind it was a huge damage over 3 rafters and the purlin, caused perhaps by a liquid incendiary bomb. Some damage was only on the surface, but some parts were reduced to only 25% of cross-section, so we had to replace very much. Especially the purlin is important to stabilize and hold the gable. The last place with World War II damage is behind this gable on the opposite side. It's a brick wall now, but until 1944 it was timber framed. It got hit by a bomb and was on fire completely when the inhabitants of the house tipped over the whole gable into the backyard to save the rest of the house. The second pair of rafters still bared the marks of this fire. These were the very last timbers to repair. Now the new roof has to be put on, as I will show in another video. But wait, I remember that I had found an old water pump when I cleared out the house years ago. I think I put it into the attic over my workshop. Let's see. Yes, here it is. It's definitely an original Luftschutzpumpe. Very likely that this is the very pump that was used to put out the fires.